I mean, like normal families. Get a job. It doesn't matter what job you do. Just excel in it. Be the best person you can be.
Yeah.
That's about it. I'm not ashamed. I'm very proud of my mom. She was the best thing that existed in our city as far as factory clothing went on. And she managed to stay in the same company for like 25 years or so. So, I mean, that says something about her. And this is what I did. I just said, well, I finished business administration. Don't ask me why I even bothered with hospitality. I mean, it's probably my dad's background in it. That made me feel that is a safer and easier space to get in.
Yeah.
And try to work your way through. And that's what happened.
I mean, the interesting thing with job seeking at the moment is that there are so many jobs that are out there, but there are also, 4 or 5 times the amount of people applying for those jobs, and people who are overqualified and people who are underqualified. Okay. You always have the overqualified, underqualified applying for a job, and I think that companies now are, instead of having a sales manager and a conference manager, for example, they're combining those 2 roles. And I think that one of the issues that we are facing at the moment is everyone's restricted by budgets and restricted by money, as you would expect in any economy. But I think that the major issue that we are coming to is that people who are going to go into these roles, they might be taking a 5 or 10 grand pay cut to go into that role, and it's in order to keep a roof above those heads, to keep a roof above their heads, sorry. And I think that in a year or so's time, where we are in a position of recovering and hospitality growing again, and I feel like we're now gone back 10 years in terms of hospitality employment. We are now back to those points of salaried staff doing shitloads of hours and 0-hour staff getting fuck all work.
You don't care about the pay cuts. You know that you have to do the pay cuts. I mean, if you wanted to keep your job and they told you, like, we have to cut down like 10 grand a year or 5 grand a year, you would go for it. I mean, you would take a step back. Do
you feel that is... I feel personally, in a way, that's a bit of an abuse of power by an employer. Because literally you are saying your choice is either take a pay cut or have nothing. This is literally have something or nothing. That's the way that I see it. It's just my cynical point of view. And
this is one thing. The second thing I think that it comes first is that they care mostly about your background and how they treat people that have been redundant in hospitality. Oh, you just have hospitality experience, you have nothing else. No, I do apologize, but I have financial background.
Can you stand there for 3 hours with someone screaming and throwing apples at you, which has happened to me?
I want someone with the customer service background. Hello?
Yeah.
Is only 100% of my routine day.
Whether it's over the phone or whether it's face to face, it's the same. It's
or
the same
emails
thing.
or
massive workloads. We've been there. Okay, cool. I think we will wrap that section up there, and then we'll head into the last section, which is a bit more frivolity. We're going to talk about hotel subscription services, and
that's something.
This might get a bit argumentative. So, time for coffee, then into the last section. Okay, and into the final section. I said we were going to get coffee, and we didn't get coffee. We literally just carried on recording, so we could have just carried on. It's fine. So, there was a story the other day that I was tagged in on LinkedIn, and it's actually quite interesting from my perspective. and this is the development of hotel subscription services.
This is an American thing. This is, I am sure 100% that has started from America.
It started in America and Singapore.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That makes sense now.
Literally, the idea is that you pay a set amount per month, and I think one of them is about $1,500. And I don't know whether it's US dollars or Singapore dollars. I don't know. It's an American website that had the story anyway. So I assume American dollars. So you pay, for example, $1,500 a month or $1,100 a month, and you receive essentially unlimited stays. All I can see...
Hand in your keys, leave them outside on the curb, and everyone can get inside.
It's an interesting model, because a lot of things are moving towards subscription services. So you can do a subscription for a car, you can do... You're looking at me blankly now, but yes, there are subscription services for cars. She just sighs into her shoulder.
I'm not as nerdy as he is in these kind of things. I mean, okay, trends.
Pretty much everything can be done via subscription nowadays in some form or another. Now, American Airlines, I think it was, years and years ago in the 80s or 90s, so sometime when I was either before born or sometime a while ago where everything was beige, the American Airlines did a sort of flights for life thing where you could pay a certain amount and you'd always have free travel for life. And I saw a news story probably around about a year, 2 years ago, where someone was suing them because they'd withdrawn this and they weren't doing it anymore. And someone was saying, I basically want my free flights.
Clever person. If they even won the case, clever people.
I mean, fair enough. I never really sort of picked up on whether they won or lost or what sort of happened. But the hotel subscription side of things, now, all I see as a general manager are issues upon issues upon issues. Because, right, firstly, if you have a hotel subscription, in the mind of a consumer, you should always be able to get a hotel room. So if that hotel is fully booked and you want a room, your first argument is going to be, I'm a subscriber, so you have to give me a room. Yeah, I don't care about Mrs. Jones, who's there for her 50th wedding anniversary, and I don't care that she got married there 50 years ago and it's a special occasion. Kick her the fuck out and give me a room on my subscription service where basically you're getting about $10.
Come on, I can't have this conversation, honest to God. I mean, what it said in there, I think in general, I'm a little bit old school as my visions of things in general, as far as the whole life mindset of how the life works. I'm an old school person. I mean, you pay for things, you get the things. You call, you see. I mean, you see, like, there are people calling in your hotel. You clearly state, I don't have bathtubs in my hotel, and they're asking for bathtubs in your hotel. I mean, it's going to be the same exact thing. And you say, sorry, I only have showers. And they're like, what? I asked for a bath. Well, I mean, well, you can't have it because I don't have, like, let me go to the cellar, get out the baby swimming pool. Or you don't have a swimming pool, or you... It will be something like that.
It will be... I personally see there's a lot of issues. Whilst at the moment occupancy is low, so you can manage it. But when we effectively get a bit of a restart of hospitality and we have events back, for example. So could you imagine doing a subscription service for a hotel in the middle of Manchester? I mean, for corporate guests, that might work. Yeah? But then we end up in the scenario of nights where you're fully booked. You end up with the scenario of people abusing it, because I'm not being
Obviously.
funny.
No, of course.
If the average cost of a room was $110 a night and I was paying $1,100, by hook or by crook, I would be making sure that I had more than 10 nights in that hotel. And what do you do if someone then wants to book 28 nights out of 30 on this subscription service?
On this article, if I understood it correctly, to be fair, it said something about bigger chains that have their lounge packages and things like that.
IHG and Accor.
Yeah. I mean, in Singapore, maybe. If you have, I don't know, like a whole... Their lounges and the lounges packages are something else. I mean, you cannot provide that in a city hotel. Unfortunately, you can't. These are luxuries that you cannot have in the city centre, and especially in Manchester. Like, imagine if I had to... I mean, hospitality workers in Manchester will definitely understand this point of view. I mean... You pay so much money for damages in everyday life that it would be impossible for you to cover these kind of costs.
Yeah.
It would be impossible. And then how sure would you be that this, overpacking the area, and are we talking about having Corona still or after Corona? Or
I think...
Is it just an imaginary scenario that anyone could say, oh yes, that could work?
I think that it's probably one of those ideas that has started to... I do feel that it's probably one of these revenue manager bright ideas, where actually it's more thinking about the revenue and a constant revenue stream than it is the actual operational side of things.
Definitely. And I can say, like, for an example, maybe that's something similar. In Greece, most of the big city hotels have swimming pools and rooftop swimming pools and things like that. That if you want it, you can either pay an entrance fee for the day, or you can pay an actual subscription to it, because not usually, it's always private areas, no one can just get in and things like that. I mean, you have to pay the entrance, yes you can, but I mean, you will have to get inside the hotel or call to the hotel and see, is there availability?
Well, there's one here, which is... luxury travel group Inspirato, basically saying for $2,500 a month you can stay at 300 accommodations globally. I hate the word accommodations. 300 places globally, let's be fair. Accommodations doesn't sound like an English word. It feels really poorly translated. Or you can pay $600 a month to get access to the group's collection, which, let's be fair, you're paying $600 a month where you could just sit and fucking Google. These places are hotels. They won't be open exclusively to these people because it just won't work. But if you've got $2,500 a month to burn... I mean, they have a maximum 60-day stay, which I suppose really is to... put people off going and living in a hotel for $2,500
Maybe it could work out as inclusive holidays works for people that want to have like their family vacations. Okay. Maybe that could be, I don't know, is it like a subscription that it applies only to one person? Is it a subscription that applies to the whole family? Is it something like that? Because if let's say you are a family of 6 and with $2,500 you can have as much as you can eat, as much as you can drink, and you can stay somewhere for 60 days. It's certainly worth your money.
I mean,
but
a lot of them at the moment are about access to lounges and access to essentially working from the hotel, which, look, I'm ever cynical, yeah. It's not really, I don't see that as massive value for money, if I'm perfectly honest here.
It's not.
Because someone who wants a place to work from, most of those people